Good afternoon. My name is Shyam Prasad. I am Secretary in Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce. I welcome all of you for today's webinar on leveraging IT applications for efficient accounting, compliance, and reporting. Today's speaker is Mr. Venkatesh Padiyar, Chartered Accountant, partner in Thynkfinn Solutions LLP. So I welcome Mr. Venkatesh Padiyar. Thanks for accepting our invitation. Thank you. Now, I welcome all our participants also for this important webinar. Yeah, good morning, sir. I welcome Mr. Viswanath Rao, also is our chairman of the committee. Yeah. I welcome Mr. K. Ravi, our senior vice president, Mr. Sudeep Shikandaswamy, co-chair, and all the participants. So we request you to post your queries in the chat box. In case if you want to come on the screen, please indicate, please indicate the industry organization you represent. And you can unmute and switch on the camera if you wish to ask questions only during question and answer session. We thank our annual sponsors for their support throughout the year, and also we expect more annual sponsors because we are approaching our golden jubilee next year. I request Mr. Viswanath Rao, our chairman of the committee, to say a few words.
Yes. Thank you very much, and welcome everybody to this first program of the Banking and Finance and Fintech Committee of BCIC. And I can't see Venkatesh and Sudeep at the head of the table.
We are right here.
Sudeep, come along to the center. Come along to the center under the BCIC logo. And then have Venkatesh also beside you, so that we can see him.
Okay. Yeah, Venkatesh, please come. Yes, sir, we are positioned.
That's good. That's good. So, ladies and gentlemen, we start this program. The background to this program was that, well, we all know we are living in this digital world, the age of IT applications and mobile technology and artificial intelligence. And those of us who are in the accounting and finance field, we're all aware that the impact on the accounting fraternity for compliance reporting is becoming very complex and demanding. The requirements, the regulatory requirements are becoming very complex and demanding. And we've all been coping with it, and we still have to learn a lot and learn to cope better. So, and then of course you have the DPDP Act also now with a lot of compliance requirements and also penalties for non-compliances and so on. So I will not get into too much of that detail. But then the objective was to sit and listen to Venkatesh, my good friend and my professional colleague, who besides being a chartered accountant is a very eminent information technology expert. He has studied a lot in that subject and he practices it every day. He's in that field of IT and accounting and finance. So we are going to be listening to him about how to leverage IT applications for efficient accounting, compliance, and reporting, which we are all aware of how important it is and how critical it is for organizations today. So I request Sudeep to take the program forward, introduce Venkatesh, and then, of course, conduct the meeting, because unfortunately, I've had to travel today on some emergency, and my signals are not very good here. I might lose the signals any time here. I'm in the basement of a place. So, Sudeep, please go ahead, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, once again for coming online and willing to sit and listen to our wonderful speaker, Venkatesh Padiyar. Thank you so much. Sudeep, go ahead.
Thanks. Yes, thanks, Viswanath sir, and thanks for popping in spite of your medical emergency. We really appreciate that. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, rather. And Venkatesh and your colleague Shruti, thanks for coming into our office and spending the time talking about compliance related matters. And I also extend a warm welcome to all the members of the chamber, and thanks to my colleagues from the chamber who are supporting us right now. Okay, when I first met Venkatesh, when I first heard compliance, I was just talking to him I'm also involved in financial services. The first thing I can think of running 8 licenses, about a little more than half a dozen. The only thing I think about is compliance, not business. And today was our weekly compliance call just before coming here, so it is fresh in the mind. So compliance is that aspect which is always in our life. It is always welcome to know what kind of acts are there, which I was just telling to you. And I'm sure our colleagues our chamber members who are attending today, many of them are officers or owners of businesses. They always have this question because the penalties are pretty high of not complying, but also the perks of complying is also very high.
Mr. They were sent on this thing online. All accounts people are in that.
Yeah, thank you. So with this as a backdrop, Venkatesh, I'd like to welcome you. Of course, Venkatesh is a chartered accountant, partner at Thynkfinn Solutions. I think you are one of the co-founders of the firm, and with about 28 years of experience, spanning across retail, telecom, manufacturing, IT services, and airport services. I mean, that's a vast industry he's been covering. I think that's the kind of knowledge that you will be sharing today. And the focus, which includes I kind of leave that because I'm sure you will cover that. Robotic process automation. I think that means I cannot miss out on AI because that's the elephant in the room. I'm sure you will be covering that. I had come prepped with some questions for that, so we will talk about it, and of course our colleagues also will open questions. Without further ado, Venkatesh, over to you for your presentation. I think what Venkatesh should be doing is running a 20 odd minute presentation, and we'll open the floor for questions. Sure, right? Thanks, Venkatesh. So you guys can go live with the. Over to you, Venkatesh.
Thanks a lot. I thank the chamber, Viswanath sir, Sudhi, and everybody associate for giving me this opportunity to present out here. 20-25 minutes is too short a time. I'll try as much as possible to communicate how we can leverage on applications as a part of getting to the stage where we are compliant to the maximum possible.
Venkatesh, just want to emphasize that you can go up to 40 minutes at least. We can sort of get the benefit of your experience and whatever you're sharing with us. And possibly, Sudeep, you'll agree with me, we can sort of compress the question and answers a little bit because we need to give him reasonable time to express himself, if that's okay with everybody.
What Venkatesh was implying is it's not about 20 minutes per se, it's whether it is 40 minutes or whatever.
Whatever. Compliance itself is such a
ocean.
Oh, yeah, you said it. You said it.
Each regulator is different. The way each regulator looks at compliance is different. So with whatever time I have, I'll try to see as much as is possible, which can be leveraged from applications through applications. So when we talk about compliances, basically there are internal compliances and external compliances. Internal compliances are basically driven by organizations, right? So each organization, based on its industry, based on its management, based on how it wants to run, whether it is based out of India, whether it's based out of the US or anywhere outside of India, will have geographic specific and local regulatory specific as well as India specific compliances to take care of. In addition to that, we'll have secretarial compliances and industry-based compliances as such, and different regulators who are looking at compliances in different ways. So one is internal compliances and the other is external compliances. External compliances basically meaning local regulatory compliances, then secretarial compliances, specific geography-related compliances through the systems and outside of the systems also. So that basically takes care of the vast area that compliance as such takes care of, and compliance is a dynamic goalpost. It's basically a moving goalpost where we can not say that, okay, now we are compliant. because different regulators based on how the industry is reacting, how companies are reacting, what is identified by regulators keeps changing the regulations and rules and regulations, giving time, obviously, and trying to address the concerns, but maybe not giving as much information as is required. And there are always gray area. The first time compliance is implemented, there's always a learning for each and everyone, how the regulator is going to react, how is the interpretation of what is put in the rules and regulations as far as compliance is concerned. Now, when we talk of compliance and we talk of efficiency as far as systems are concerned, we need devices, because nowadays, from 20 years back and today, the means for achieving efficiency is through systems. Now you have laptops, you have desktops, now you have tablets, you have phones, smartphones, and now one more dimension to the devices is smart TVs. So all of this combined are means for achieving efficiency. Laptops will have a different kind of a challenge as far as compliance is concerned. Similarly with desktops, because desktops, each industry is different, right? So in some industries, when I go to a industry, they will ensure that I write asset numbers, I have a card, they will see what I have, if I have USBs. So that is the challenge with a laptop. With the desktop, in some industries, they won't allow mobile phones to be taken inside because they are dealing in that kind of industry. So different compliances as far as devices are concerned. Tablets pose a different challenge altogether, because now each device now speaks to each other. Now you can access a laptop through a tablet, and tablet you can actually have calls projected to your phone itself based on which operating system we are using. So even if I have a phone, I'm making a presentation, I could have a call which is coming on the device itself. And as far as smart TVs are concerned, lot of challenges, because a lot of presentations happen on smart TVs. Now I can log into a email, I can log into a URL using smart TVs itself, because these are all connected devices. And with IoT which has come, which I'll probably not take right now, there are a lot of challenges and a lot of opportunities also to leverage from each of these devices. We can move to the next slide. So initially, I would want to take up some, based on my experience, some non-compliant areas that we have noted as far as systems are concerned, IT systems are concerned, or any financial compliance is concerned. Everything has an effect as far as financials are concerned, either directly or indirectly. One of the things that I have seen is very few companies have a comprehensive list of IT inventory and what actually consists of IT inventory. Now, I'll take the last part first. Excel is something which a lot of people use for maintaining their inventories. Like you have huge inventory, whether it's a software industry, whether it's a manufacturing industry, whether it's a financial services industry or a fintech. Lots of people have still maintain IT inventory in Excel spreadsheets, which is a huge problem as far as the access control is concerned, as far as modification is concerned. And quite a few people don't have a list of licensed and open source softwares which they're using, because all of this has an impact on my financials as well as compliance, because regulators nowadays, first thing they are coming and looking at is you are using all these systems. Do you have an inventory of these systems which is available with you? How do I know how many applications you're using, where you're based out of? How is communication happening? Because in quite a few cases, RBI itself, let's take the example of RBI. It says no data should go outside of India. And if there is an MNC, one copy of that financial statement should be available in India. Even today, we are facing challenges as far as complying with that particular thing is concerned. Because companies will say, no, I can't take the entire copy of the financial statements and put it in India service. I can't take specific data related to India entity and put it in. So complying with that particular thing, again, because of systems is becoming a problem. One more area which we are finding a lot of issues as far as non-compliance is concerned is company-owned devices and BYOD, because companies nowadays are working remotely. Lots of things are happening through phones and tablets. So it's actually a mix of company-owned devices and BYOD devices. How is data being transferred between, how is data information being transferred between company-owned devices and BYOD devices? And what are the controls that have been put in place to ensure data is actually moving properly and safely and securely? And the elephant in the room is APIs, because everywhere we go, it is APIs. It is internal APIs, it's external APIs. I have I have self-developed APIs which are actually within my network, which are interacting between applications. And then if I want to do a KYC, or if I want to do a CB, that credit bureau check, I need to use external APIs. And there is a transaction between my API and the external APIs. So these are a few areas where we have seen a lot of non-compliance happening. So this in itself is a different topic altogether. This is just to say these are the areas where a lot of non-compliance is being looked at by the regulator itself, because regulators are coming and seeing these things are something which are needed to be put in place, because there is no visibility as far as the data or information, even financial information. Specific to, I've not put it in the presentation, but here UPSC, the UPSI, right, unpublished sensitive information, even that people are for listed companies, that is being looked at, how many devices are carrying this kind of information. Okay, so even reports, because who has got access to the trial balance, who has got access to profit and loss, and in which devices they are being accessed. Each of these is being looked at, and whether declaration is being taken from that particular person as far as UPSI declaration is concerned. All of these are being looked at by the regulators. Now, when we think of applications, most people think it's only apps, right? It's only financial applications, or it's microservices, or but it's actually not only applications, because regulators or anybody who is looking at it, we can leverage on a lot of things which are available through applications and what the applications actually run on. Now with applications, I will take it into an onion of security, which is peeling each layer of an onion and seeing how we can actually be compliant. Now, if I take one application, I will say operating system is also an application, because there are a lot of configurations which are available at the operating system level, which can help me be compliant, right? Kotak Mahindra was actually penalized because there was access management issues, right? A lot of things could be resolved as far as operating system is concerned. Now, one more thing which needs to be taken into consideration as a part of the application, also a database. Right? Database also has a lot of functionalities which can be leveraged with very little incurring of cost. Lot of functionalities are available at the database level also, which can help us be compliant. There are a lot of functional applications also. Functional applications are applications which are used, SAP, Tally, all of these applications which are used for financial services. Other applications which are used for asset management, which are used for reporting, specifically for managing covenants and all of that. So you have functional applications which are also forming a part of the services that are provided and which need to be compliant with rules and regulations. Now, the industry has moved away from monolithic applications, right? It has gone into microservices, because instead of managing a huge application, industry is now thinking, different sectors of industry are now thinking, why don't we break this up into specific functionalities? So now the concept of a microservice has come into play, where each small function is being managed by a different microservice. With applications, we have APIs, we have reporting, and obviously we have automation and generative AI, which we cannot not take into consideration as a part of compliances. So just one practical implementation of how we can leverage on the operating system to ensure that we are compliant as far as, say, access management is concerned. One way in which an operating system can be used is for ensuring there is access control. Now, with an operating system, there are different services which can be switched on and different services which can be switched off. So you have operating system at my device level and I have an operating system at my server level. Using both group privileges or group policies, we can ensure that there is enough segregation of duties or enough privilege management so that nobody can escalate the privileges. One thing I usually encourage people to refer to is a website called Mitre Attack, which basically says how many vulnerabilities have been identified, and it also gives an idea of how these vulnerabilities can be patched out. So this is a site which is available. Most people who look at operating systems, because that is the way most people come into the network. So Mitre Attack gives what are the vulnerabilities and how some steps which can be taken to mitigate those particular vulnerabilities. And I just tie all of this together with a few presentations of how this can be compliant. Now, wherever we go, we see there are a lot of compliances which are available, right? Now, we see USBs are deactivated because people should not be taking data out of individual systems. We have MFA implemented at operating system level and at application level also. And then in quite a few cases, there are at the operating system level itself, there are disk encryptions available with absolutely no cost involved. But most people have not enabled this disk encryption at their device levels. If you can just move back, please. Now, Bluetooth is an oft ignored part of compliance. Why Bluetooth is most ignored is most of us will keep the Bluetooth on and devices are speaking to each other, right? While I have USBs deactivated, while I ensure that people are not able to keep data outside, group policies don't include restricting Bluetooth. Whereas using Bluetooth, a person who wants to beat the system can actually transfer sensitive files from their devices to their phones or whichever devices they are using. Because a lot of devices are being used today to do business, to conduct business, to be in touch with what is happening as far as our businesses are concerned. If group policies don't restrict Bluetooth, it is very easy to transfer files from any device to any device, because Bluetooth, something which people are not looking at, IT teams are not looking at as far as restricting access to this particular functionality is concerned in their devices. Regulators are have started looking at this also now.
But that's surprising. Looks like a very obvious device now you're telling it.
That's made now 2 years down the line, regulators were not looking at it, but now they are looking at Bluetooth also, because that is one way entire file systems can be transferred. You break up systems and there is no log also, because nobody is going to see whether that system event has happened. And then one more thing which needs to be put in place is MFA. Within operating systems, you can have MFAs, and especially for people who are carrying highly sensitive data, right? Customer data, financial data, projections, all of this, they should have their systems encrypted, because if their disks are not encrypted, in that case, their data is available in clear text. If I just take the hard disk out, I connect it as a USB, I'm able to access it. This is not possible in the case of Apple, because Apple stores data completely differently. Because that is a Linux system, and Windows, most of us use Windows. So if you're using a Windows, it's very easy, or an Android device for that matter. If you're using all of that, then it is very easy to connect, get the folders displayed on any other system and download the data. So if the disk is encrypted, it is not possible to actually see, and this functionality is already available in our existing laptops and systems. So we should be leveraging on all the functionalities that are available as far as operating systems are concerned. Now, at the database level itself, there are a lot of things that are available in our systems that are not possible, but at the server level, at database level, we have schedulers, we have scripts, we have encryptions which are available, and schedulers are doing the jobs on their own without use of RPA. So you have operating systems or databases which are running now with operating systems, which can actually put schedulers in place, wherein there is very little manual intervention as somebody going and asking for accessing the database and generating reports or generating information that is required for day-to-day work. And access to data at the database level generates audit logs and send it to specified persons for review. I'll just take it up as a part of one example that I've taken as far as DPTP is concerned. There is a possibility of logging specific fields in the database. Who has touched this? For example, bank accounts. If somebody has changed a bank account, they should not be in a position to change any bank accounts. PAN numbers, GST numbers, all of these are sensitive fields which are not supposed to be changed unless and until there is an approval process which is going. Somebody touches these particular fields in the DB, then there should be a trigger and it is possible to do it. All of these things today with the operating systems that are being used or the databases which are being used, it is possible to put all of these in place. We have seen dynamic pricing, we have seen changes to and this is not at the application level. At the application level, you have different configurations which are available. These are something which, if it is not available at the application level, can be configured at the database level also, wherein you say these are the sensitive fields and any change to this field needs to be highlighted. We can go to the next one. Yeah. One problem which we have seen as far as microservices are concerned, right? Most microservices work on UTC, which is universal time zone, and then we are working on IST. So there is always a translation between UTC and IST. Whenever we look at microservices and the requirement today as far as audit trails is concerned, which is suggested by MCA as well as mandated by ICAI, is that audit log should be available. And there is a proposal to move everything to IST. Once we have the NAVIC in place, I think everything will have to be moved to IST. Even today, we see when we are doing reviews from systems and we are seeing how data is moved from one system to another system or how systems are compliant. We see because there is a combination of systems which is used. Some systems might be working on IST and some systems are working on UTC. If we are using Google or if we are using Azure, it will always work on UTC. If we are using any Indian application, it will work on IST, sorry. So there is a 5.5 hour difference between these two things, and there is some manual work which needs to go to see whether data has moved properly, because at times when we do reviews to see what has gone wrong or we do forensic reviews, we need to see how data has moved. So one practical implementation is time zones. If we have the same time zone which is implemented across different microservices, and also there are audit logs which in quite a few cases is not available or not retained. Logs for transfer of data between different microservices, because when we are seeing microservices, we expect responses within nanoseconds or milliseconds. If we are not able to tie or understand how data has moved from one application to another, or sequencing, because if I take the example, KYC has to happen and credit bureau check has to happen before the file is even considered for credit. Right? Even for investments, if I have investments or if I am reporting the NPA needs to be reported at the customer level, not at the loan ID level. So these are different things that need to happen, because in one case, it might be possible that the information which is being reported from different microservices, whereas there is no cohesion between different microservices. Okay. In APIs, one thing which we have seen is we send a request to a third party for asking for KYC or asking for credit bureau check. Now, the response which is received from the service provider is available in the system itself, is available in the system where the response is supposed to be stored and the response is supposed to be digested from that particular response to arrive at a decision, whatever the case may be, right? So in KYC norms, what we have seen is a lot of cases, the request and response file, request file is sent to the third party and the response is stored in the device, but this doesn't come under the purview of data which needs to be sanitized, because that also contains data which is sensitive, right? APIs should have encryption. APIs should have data privacy. That is basically how is data being sent from my network to the third party network, and how is it coming back and sitting in my system? Am I using a gateway to ensure very few people have access to APIs? Because APIs are doing almost everything nowadays. APIs are taking care of most of the things that are going on as far as transfer of information from one system to another system is happening, or getting information from a third party is happening. Testing of security is not happening, as far as quite a few people are not able to demonstrate if they have their own APIs. They are not able to demonstrate that their APIs are secure, that nobody can have a man in the middle attack. Nobody can actually extract data from the APIs that are sending information to a third party and receiving information through their systems. In quite a few cases, practical implementation of APIs is rate limiting and throttling. Lot of requests are going because when I'm consuming a third party API, I have to pay for it. And when somebody uses my API, I am responsible for whatever is sent using my API. So if I'm asking a lot of requests, it is quite possible the control that I have as far as requests sent from my system to a third party system is not being managed. So something called rate limiting or throttling needs to be put in place, which can be done using a gateway also. Now, there are a lot of applications and we see automation and generative AI, right? There is something called RPA. RPA is robotic process automation. What are these things? These basically are sitting on top of the applications, and actually there is a code written, or there are things which are suggested to be done in a particular sequence. So this sits on top of the applications and works like a scheduler, but in an automated manner, right? So it goes and fetches data from one particular microservice, gives it to a microservice. It ensures that certain sequences which are scheduled in the automation takes place in the manner it is done. It also has got error and error detection, wherein if data is not available, data is not completely available as a part of processing of the information, it highlights that okay, only out of 1,000 rows, only 400 out of 1,000 rows, only 400 rows have been processed. 600 rows are still to be processed. So it manages the buffer, it manages the sequencing, it manages a lot of things. Now, earlier these were all paid applications. Nowadays, a lot of RPA applications like OpenUI are available as a free offering in as a part of open source tools. Now, we have seen a lot of cases where SQL queries are fired for reporting, right? Most of the reports are based on SQL queries which are fired in the database. Artificial intelligence is being implemented as far as query optimization is concerned. Now, earlier what used to happen is there is something called a query optimization. If a query runs for 40 minutes or 50 minutes to pull information. Nowadays, there is something called query optimization, wherein by optimizing that same query, we can get the data in half the time, or there is significant saving in timing in getting the information from the database, because everything today works on data and information. We build up a database of information which goes on for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. There is a lot of event-based data also, because everybody nowadays is using apps. So you have event-based data. Have I gone on this page or have I not gone on this page? What have I done on this page? So business is dictated by what data is being generated by individual user devices as well as third-party devices. With this kind of data, if we have inbuilt query optimizations, it is very much easier to attain efficiency as far as without any additional cost. Optimizing the query to ensure it is pulling data within a specified time. And something which has come up now is automated account postings, wherein it's a combination of accounting as well as AI, in which if somebody sends data to a particular email ID or a particular folder or a particular account, the file is opened, the data is actually read, and postings are being done in an automated manner. And this is done with and without monitoring. To give you an example, if a GST filing is being done by one account, or a report is being given for a customer account to a particular department, most of these things are now read using OCI, that is optical character recognition, and the account postings are being done in an automated manner. Now, what do I mean by with and without monitoring? In quite a few cases, till the system is not stabilized, there is an approval process which has been put in place. And when it is stabilized, there is no requirement of a approval process. So once a system stabilizes, the entries are posted on their own. And there is one more tool which has come. I won't name the tools as such. Most of these tools are available. Most of the tools are available online. With proper controls, most of these open source tools can be utilized and they are highly efficient. And there is something which is called automated finalization also. So we have a lot of aggregation of data that needs to happen, right? If I'm getting data from a lot of sources at the different entity level, I can actually do a finalization, and all of this is done in an automated manner. So I don't need to actually bring all of this together. From the systems, it is pulling all the data on its own and it's finalizing and giving it in whatever format you want it. It's giving that as an automated. And a lot of open source tools are available also for automated, and which we call continuous controls monitoring, where you have audit hooks, where you say all of this, if this happens, identify this as a exception, send it to somebody who can have a look at it in depth. So a lot of automation and generative AI tools are available, but especially generative AI, very helpful. We need to be very careful as far as generative AI is concerned from different perspectives. From the perspective of completeness, from the perspective of accuracy, from the perspective of the learning model, from the perspective of training the models, from the perspective of also the results that are thrown up. If you can go to the next slide. Okay, recent happening, right? So this is October 5th, 2025. Deloitte has used, I can take the name because this is actually in public domain. Deloitte has to refund the Australian government for use of AI for providing a report. So it has had to give back the money, I think the last installment, for having lot of errors using AI to formulate the report. to finalize the.
Just a quick question since you are raising this, like, I mean, was the entire report generated through AI or was it?
There's not enough information. I think this was the final report which had gone to the Australian government.
Okay.
And there were a lot of errors in the report. I'll give you one more example. People in the finance industry, there is a rule in RBI which says that each loan agreement has to be given in the local language. Right? So if key fact statements, KFS has to be in the local language. So the agreements has to be in a language where the borrower can understand what it should not be in English only. A lot of people use Google translators. If you're using Google Translator, it's basically AI itself. So it takes an English agreement which is drawn up in English and translates it into Odia or Bengali or whatever. We have seen a lot of cases where it doesn't understand 11 or it doesn't understand 21. So the substance of what is there in the agreement and what is the translated agreement is completely different.
It's a classical lost in translation.
Exactly. So unless and until we are not in a position to actually monitor, using AI could result in a lot of not only this, lot of cases as far as even data privacy is concerned. Right? If you go to the next slide. So nowadays, based on the learning models, right, entire databases have been deleted. This is a Replit coding tool which helps in coding as far as testing the code. When the code is being written, the code is being tested. So this AI tool itself deleted the entire company database and also created fake data for 4,000 users. Also, what happened was, when asked, it said, I didn't do anything. So it actually denied having done anything as far as deletion of the company database or creating 4,000 fake users. Data for 4,000 users. So whenever we are actually using AI, we need to be very careful as far as AI is concerned. A lot of AI is being used for underwriting, for understanding trends. When we are need to be absolutely sure, because business decisions nowadays are being taken based on what is suggested by AI. Need to be very, very sure that whatever is the decision that is given by AI is something which is actually monitored. Till we don't have confidence,
Okay.
because this is a learning model. It keeps learning. If it is trained in the wrong manner, it's going to give wrong.
So it has to do with the training of the system, right? Like, so
It's the training. So though we say AI helps a lot, it's 100% very, very helpful. We also need to look at how AI can create problems for whatever we are doing as far as our day-to-day work is concerned.
the solutions come with problems.
We can go to the next slide. Yeah, I'll just take an example of DPDP Act. Right now, why I am taking this is, in the last slide, we'll see we're already aware that this is based on GDPR, and we are trying to see as far as privacy of data is concerned, with certain exceptions. With certain exceptions that data is private and only available to people who need it. And personal data is not shared with anybody who should not be having access to the data. I'll take one section, that is one part of DPDP Act, which is reasonable security standards. Reasonable security safeguards, which are the obligation of a data fiduciary. A data fiduciary is a company who is actually taking the information of the data principal. I and you, everybody is a data principal, and anything which stores data on our data is called a data fiduciary. It could be for anything. It could be for day-to-day operations. It could be employee-employer relationship. It could be a customer service provider relationship. So basically says visibility on accessing of such personal data through appropriate logs, monitoring and review for enabling detection of unauthorized access, its investigation and remediation to prevent recurrence. Now, how do I actually fulfill the obligation? Because it says reasonable security safeguards. nobody can be 100% sure that whatever safeguards that they have put in place is going to resolve issues. Technology is changing, along with it, the challenges of using the technology in the best possible manner is also changing. So it says reasonable security standards. I'll just draw attention back to the database logging that I said, which is the personal data. Of course, we have cases where the data is completely encrypted. But putting one more level of place to say I have reasonable, more than reasonable security standards is identifying who has accessed that particular tool. Have they touched that particular field, because that is personal data or that is data which is sensitive to the organization, and ensuring that there are appropriate logs. With monitoring and review, if you are putting all of this in place, it goes to somebody who looks at it and says, okay, there is an approval. If there is the standard put in place, the history of whatever has been done as far as meeting the obligations of data fiduciary, and mind you, almost every one of us is a data fiduciary, because we have either customer data or we have employee data. All of us are data fiduciaries in some way or the other. So that is one way in which the existing applications or the existing operating systems can be leveraged to try and meet this particular requirement of reasonable security safeguards. One more case as far as the next slide, please. Is 8, that is time period for specified purposes to be deemed as no longer being served. So basically says that data needs to be deleted when it is no longer required. And one more ask is that before 48 hours of deletion of that particular information, the data fiduciary needs to inform the data principal that the data is being deleted. Right? That there is no need for me to retain this data. Now I will delete this information. Now, even this can be automated by way of functionalities that are available at the database level to see that this person is no longer with the company or this person is no longer a customer. There are 3 different categories as far as how much time the data needs to be maintained. In the case of a e-commerce, I think it is 3 years. Needs to be maintained. All the data needs to be maintained for 3 years. Also, they are liable to give a 48-hour notice. So quite a few things need to be, can be automated or can be functionalities were available at the operating system and the database level can actually be leveraged to meet this obligation of a data fiduciary. Again, you can send a invite, or we can send an information to say that before 48 hours, I need to maintain the data for 1 year, or once the FFS is done, I can delete the information. So I need it for 7 days after FFS. Before 7 days, 48 hours, I'll send an email to the person at his registered email ID to say that this particular thing, I'm deleting the data. If you don't want us to delete the data, please get in contact with us, right? Or otherwise initiates contact with the data fiduciary for performance of specified purpose, or exercises the rights in relation to processing of this data. Now, one more thing that we have oft noticed is the employment letters. Though it is not a part of the requirement as far as the PDP is concerned, employment letters don't make, or customer agreements don't make reference to the option available to the customer as far as DPDP Act is concerned. They're actually encouraging people, though it is not mandatory, to try and put it as a part of the employment agreement so that this is available to the person and he has read it, he has signed off on that particular thing, either manually or digitally. And this is available as a part of the records to say, we have given information to the particular data principal that his data is secure, is safe, and we'll be using it for the purposes of day-to-day operations only till there is a need to retain this data. And if he wants this data to be stored for future, he needs to get in contact and say this needs to be stored for a particular purpose. So though this is not a mandate, we are just asking for this to be put in place as far as the employment letters are concerned.
Sorry, Shamprasad. Time check. We still have
Oh, no. Just one
slide. Okay.
No problem. Yeah, these are the key penalties. This is probably the last slide. Why all of this needs to be leveraged as far as applications are concerned, because applications will help us understand that we understand and prove to whoever comes to say that we have put reasonable security safeguards in place. Manually, there is no way we can show that we have put reasonable security safeguards. Penalties, failure to implement reasonable security safeguards. Again, they are saying reasonable security safeguards leading to a data breach is 250 crores. It starts from 250 crores. And to the least, whereas breach of duties from a data principle is 10,000 rupees. So just taking the example of a DPDP Act, which is going to affect each and every one of us as far as compliance is concerned. Not specific to industry. This is across industry and this is going to hit each and every one of us.
These are last slide.
So I just open it to questions.
Oh, you're good. Okay. Hey, thanks, Venkatesh. Like, that was great. Especially the last slide got my attention. Like, seeing the crores on the penalties. So I'm sure our colleagues will have some questions. Like, we are open for questions. So, are there any questions coming on the system? Let me check.
So we can announce also questions.
No, sir.
The participants, sir.
So as the questions come in, so I'll just do a follow-through question, like, so to what we are doing, like, I mean, the penalties, like, I'll start with the penalties because I'm still looking at that number, like, even you have taken off the slide. What are the safeguards? Like, are people taking enough safeguards today? Like, so are the risk mitigation done at a very organized way, or we still, these are all work in progress? Because it's always work in progress because AI is very new, right? Like, I mean, when nobody has a clue, like, except like, we have a free Perplexity on all our phones, like, and we are dumping data into that. That's a black box also again, like, right? Like, so I think we are just feeding the data to the world. Like, that's something which most of us don't realize. You want to just comment on that because I think that's majority of the people are doing this.
One thing which I have been speaking at a lot of forums is we take the help of AI most format a few things to make it look more professional. We put speeches into which could be highly sensitive. We put resolutions which are there to make it look more better, and I am uploading this in AI to make it come out better. It's a black box actually. I don't know where the data is going. There could be safeguards, but again, like we have seen, we don't have any visibility as far as where the data is going. Quite a few functionalities are available within Gemini, within ChatGPT, where it says that I don't allow my data to learn. There's an option called don't learn. So most people have not picked that functionality itself, and in quite a few cases, people are uploading sensitive information. People are uploading financial statements to make them come out in formats that they want. They want that particular thing to be presented in a better manner. They want it, the entire presentations for a board meeting are being put into AI to make it come out very well. So all of these are some things which could lead to a huge issue as far as not only compliance, penalties also are concerned.
So right now it is an unknown.
Exactly.
Right? It's not even known unknown, it's unknown. So probably we'll realize after a few months or years. I think that's an important point. Even like, we all do that, including me. Like, sending medical reports instead of going to a doctor, like, popping the medical report into the black box and, so someday some insurance guy will come like, hey.
In the US, there are regulations which HIPAA is there, where I can't divulge any medical information. In India, it has not yet, but obviously, as time,
anything is wrong. I think there is a question.
Yeah, there's a question from Mr. Manjunath. He's CFO of Printers Mysore Limited. Okay. Please, sir, Can you see the question?
Yeah, I'll read it. I can.
Yeah, please enlighten us on the AI tools available for AP or AR process.
For MSMEs.
Yes, sir. There are tools available, sir. I don't want to name these tools, but I will share these tools with the chamber.
Yes.
Then definitely you can reach out. I don't. And the chamber can
Maybe,
actually share it.
like, we can also share his email ID, like, maybe one-on-one if somebody wants to have a chat with you, like, because that will be helpful as a follow-through.
Sure, definitely, definitely. There are tools which are available as far as AP AR is concerned, which has got OCI. These are all licensed tools also which are available. One tool which it involves a lot of learning. I can take one tool. It's called Data Snipper, which is available in Excel, which is an add-on functionality which you can take. Obviously, it is an automation tool which is readily available as a part of whatever we are using as far as Excel is concerned. So you have API process, which once you tell it to anchor, you can see some videos which are available, or you can have a demonstration also. Just one tool I'll tell you, which is something which quite a few people are using. There are other tools also which are available. Data Snipper is one which is available as a part of Excel.
Thank you so much. Maybe anybody has a question to ask, we should unmute. So, I mean, before anybody comes in, like, I'll still well on the, the AI tools itself, like, so are there any solutions coming with AI as a, what do you call, a task master, like, which will solve your problems?
Again, that is chicken and egg story.
Yeah.
To monitor AI, you need one more AI.
Yeah.
Who will monitor that AI?
Okay.
Again, artificial intelligence as a rule is based on a learning model.
Correct.
It will only do what it has been trained
Trained
to.
to, yeah. I think it goes back to that principle of training
Again, and if it is able to pull data from sources which it is not supposed to, or it is given data which is not supposed to digest, it will obviously learn the wrong things.
So the bright side is, like, people are not going to lose jobs in a hurry because skill training has to be done. But once you train, you can lose yourself.
The way I look at AI is similar to the IT revolution, right? When IT had come, people would say lots of people are going to lose jobs because of IT.
Yeah, just productivity enhancements.
Just, I think, because of introduction of IT, jobs have tenfold, multifold jobs have gone up. Ancillary services, lots of things have come up just because of one IT revolution. With the internet, a lot of people thought mom and pop stores will go.
We have stories like that.
So they are still there. And e-commerce is being leveraged by these stores to actually bring more efficiency and cost savings to themselves as far as these platforms are concerned. So what I believe is AI provides a lot of opportunity, provided we upskill ourselves and are careful, take precautions to see that we are not overly reliant on it.
I don't see any questions coming. Does somebody wants to ask a question there?
No.
In that case, let's do a wrap. Like, probably not probably, we'll be sharing the coordinates. Like, if somebody wants to have one chat with them, like, I think they would be free to.
We will share Mr. Padiyar's email ID to
Yes.
participants.
So,
Kalyan, please share. Okay.
Thanks so much, Venkatesh. It was indeed very illuminative. Like, the points you covered, and this is not an optional subject, right, for most of us. However much we might say, oh no, I can't handle this. Oh no, I can't like this. Like, this is the elephant in the room, which is not going to go away. We need to treat it or temper with it. Like, really appreciate taking your time out, and I'm sure, like, the colleagues might perhaps want to talk one-on-one later. By drop emails, like, I'm sure it will be.
The only thing I wanted to communicate out here is, like you said, we have no options now.
Yes.
Two ways which we can do it: either we incur cost or we use functionality which is already available within our systems. We have already invested on it. Maybe we are not using the functionalities as we are supposed to use it.
Yes.
Teams might say, oh, we'll get one more tool. Whereas functionalities are already available in the tools which I have already implemented.
Yes.
The thing that I just want to communicate is a lot of functionalities are already available in whatever we have already invested on.
Okay.
Other than AI, which now comes as a part of packages itself. Other than that, there are open source tools which are available. Used in the right manner, this can provide a lot of leverage and efficiency as far as compliance is concerned. Not even compliance, bringing in more efficiency and bringing in more visibility.
So basically you're telling me just start walking that first mile with your regular shoes. Don't wait for a performance shoes to come in right now. If I got time, just start moving. I think that's the
Everything that says, it says reasonable security safeguards and what safeguards we have put in place. I need to build a history. I can't say with 1 or 2 transactions I put something in place. So I need to put something in place to demonstrate to whoever comes that I have put reasonable security safeguards in place.
first things first.
First things.
Hey, thanks so much. I can't tell how much I appreciate this. Thanks for coming out. And
Thanks.
personally also, it's been a very illuminating thing for you, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you more on that. Yeah. So
Thank you, sir.
we need to just formally, and thanks to our members, for participating. We'll just give them a token of presence and appreciation.
Madam, come. No, please come. No, please come. No, here he's taking the picture. You give the mobile to him. Here it is. One moment. Anand, come now. Come.
Thanks.
One more, sir. Please. Yes.
Please.
No, please.
The plant, not very yes. Yes. Thank you so much. So we will sign off from the video. Thanks everyone. Bye.
The lunch. The lunch.
Okay, good. Thanks, Venkatesh.
Sudeep sir, joining us for lunch.
I'll spend some time.